Well, I've got good news and gooder news. Everything that's happening right now in the Democratic Party is good for us, but that should not lull you into a false sense of security with regard to electing Donald Trump. It's Tuesday, July 9th, 2024. I'm Stuart Allister. From CNN, Parkinson's specialist met with Biden's physician at White House earlier this year, records show. Now, here's the thing. You're going to be hearing a lot about this Parkinson's, not the doctor, Parkinson's. Yes, you're going to be hearing a lot about that. This, by the way, is CNN. This is the Trump-hating, never-Trumper, Don Lemon, Chris Cuomo, CNN. And what I believe we are witnessing is a civil war within the Democratic Party. And if it's not a civil war, it's at least, at the very minimum, civil strife. I think the rank and file, they don't want Joe gone. The elites, however, do want Joe Biden gone. Now, for those of you who can't really piece that part together, we're going to get into it, okay? Before we go any further, why don't you wreck that like button, subscribe to my channel if you haven't, and press that notification bell so you never miss an episode. This is how I am framing this, and for just for the purposes of this video. When I say that the rank and file are standing behind, for the most part, Joe Biden, I mean the Hakeem Jeffries, the Nancy Pelosi's, the Chuck Schumers, the Van, maybe not necessarily the Van Joneses, but the people who stand to gain from Joe being in office. But then you have the elites. Those are the Abigail Disneys. Those are those Wall Street types that gave $74 million to Biden's 2020 campaign. Those are the elites. And that is where I believe the civil strife is coming from. The elites want Joe out. The rank and file want Joe to remain. All of it is selfish because it in any event, it's all good for us. Why? Because, well, if Joe Biden stays, it's a fairly foregone conclusion that Donald Trump wins because Biden has been a dismal failure. That doesn't mean that we can be complacent, but I'm just saying it looks like all things point to a Trump victory. Now, let's say that somehow the elites get their way and Biden is ousted. Okay, that's even gooder for us. Why? Because then we got Kamalama. And Donald Trump versus Kamalama is even a worse bloodbath than Donald Trump against Biden. Now, you got to understand this. I want to give you a kind of panoramic view of what's happening in the media. Okay, so let's get into this right now. A top Parkinson's disease specialist held a meeting with President Joe Biden's physician at the White House earlier this year, according to records, though the circumstances of the meeting are unclear. Dr. Kevin Kennard, a neurologist at the Walter Reed National Military Medical Center, met with White House physician Dr. Kevin O'Connor at the White House in mid-January, according to White House visitor logs. This, again, is coming from CNN. That tells you that the media has been given the green light to go after Joe Biden. You see, this is where the elite attack is coming from. It's not coming from the rank and file. That's why you see some of these people still coming out supporting Joe Biden after that dismal debate. It won't matter because the rank and file know that, oh, there's something to gain with him being in the White House. But with the elites, they don't give a crap about that. And here's what I want you to see, because I want to give you more of a panoramic view of what's happening. This is coming from the New York Times. Parkinson's expert visited White House 8 times in 8 months. Wow, that came from the New York Times. My goodness gracious. And then we've got CBS News. White House releases letter from Biden's doctor after questions about Parkinson's specialist White House visits. My goodness gracious. What else is going on? Oh, the Daily Mail. Joe Biden's personal physician breaks from protocol to reveal why top neurologist and Parkinson's specialist visited the White House 8 times in 8 months amid fear for 81-year-old president's health. Wow, this seems to be a trend going on. Ooh, the Washington Post. Parkinson's specialist evaluated Biden for physical. White House says. Oh, wait, hang on a second. Let me read that. Parkinson's specialist evaluated Biden for physical. White House says. And then Yahoo News. From the Daily News, Parkinson's doctor has visited Biden White House regularly. Report says. Parkinson's. Parkinson's. Are you getting a hint of what the elites are trying to do? They are trying to put it in the ether that whenever you were now talking about Joe Biden, you were talking about Parkinson's. Now, does he have Parkinson's? What the heck do I know? I'm not a doctor. I'm not a doctor. But you got to understand what's happening with the elites and the rank and file within the Democratic Party. Okay? Because it does matter. And I'm going to show you something. All of this should sound really familiar to you. Okay? Once I go through this should sound really familiar. Here, remember this.
Look, I'm just going to be honest. I mean, everybody comes on the air and says all this great stuff, but behind the scenes, it's full-scale panic. People are passing around legal memos, PDFs are flying back and forth on WhatsApp, trying to figure out what are the options, how can you replace Biden, how do you get him to do it in a way where he feels respected as he should be respected, who should Kamala Harris's vice president be. The conversation on air and the conversation off air are completely different. And so it's the same thing you saw with the Trump situation, where people would come on air and defend Trump, and then you talk to people, and we got a crazy candidate. We don't have a crazy candidate. We have a great candidate. We have a beautiful man. We have someone who.
You notice he had to bring in Trump somehow. There has to be this, this is Biden versus Trump. Even when the entire conversation is about Joe Biden, somehow, some way, someone's suffering from Trump derangements, and they have to bring out Donald Trump.
Loves this country. We have someone who has given his all. I mean, his all to the last drop for this country, but he may not be able to get across the finish line.
First of all, he has not given his all. He has taken more than he has ever given. He has taken more than he has ever given. That was a ridiculous notion. You want to know who's actually sacrificing? Yeah, Donald Trump. Okay, when he was in the White House, he wasn't making money. In fact, he's losing money. He didn't want to do this. But he sees his country going down the toilet. I'm sorry, I digress. I'm showing you this. There's legal memos going back and forth with all the insiders, and people don't know what the heck to do. And you got to understand, The rank and file are stuck between a rock and a rock. They got to serve the elites, but at the same time, they know they got to serve their constituents. Understand this. Chuck Schumer, Nancy Pelosi, Hakeem Jeffries, and the like, they are beholden to the elites, the people that keep them in office, the people that they actually represent. It ain't you and me. The people that they actually represent, they know, okay, my boss wants them out. They want Biden out. Now, I'm going to show you something here. This comes from NBC. Keep that in mind. Wait, hang on a second. I'm sorry. But before I get to that, this lets you know they've let the dogs out.
President, I can tell you, has seen a neurologist 3 times as it's connected to a physical that he gets every year that we provide to all of you.
It's a very basic, direct question.
Wait. Hold on. Wait a second.
8 times, or at least once, in regards to the president specifically.
Hold on a second.
Not what you should be able to answer by this point.
Wait, no. No, wait a minute. Ed, please. A little respect here. Security reasons, we cannot share names. We cannot share names.
You cannot we have to others he would have met with. You can share names in regards to if someone came here in regards to the president.
We cannot share names of specialists broadly, from a dermatologist to a neurologist. We cannot share names. There are security reasons. We have to protect. I understand that. I hear you.
It's right there for anyone to see.
Ed, I hear you. I cannot from here confirm any of that because we have to keep their privacy.
All right, here now with more is Fox News senior White House correspondent Peter Doocy. I say this affectionately to you as I was watching this White House briefing today. It was almost like the whole room became like Peter Doocy and asked real questions.
All of a sudden, they've got real questions. What the heck is going on here? Well, because there is a civil war going on within the Democratic Party. And they have already been given the green light to go after Joe Biden. That's what's happening right now. Now, do you guys see, if you don't remember Donald Trump and the 4 years when every single gathering, there was just like what you just saw. It was accusatory. They were going after her. Kayleigh McEnany, they would go after Donald Trump's press secretary tooth and nail. I mean, it was constant. What you just saw with Kareem Jean-Pierre, what you saw with her, it was constant with Donald Trump's press secretary. So much so, he had to clear the room because no one is getting anywhere because everything they said was an accusation. They weren't even asking questions. They were all accusations. It was what you just saw, but it was 4 years of that. See, what you're witnessing is you've already seen this. That's my point. You've seen this already. You've seen this play. It's just the star of the play you saw was starring Donald Trump. This time, it's Joe Biden. Now this should bring back fond memories.
I'm joined tonight by Dr. Tom Pitts. He's a quadruple board certified neurologist. He sees patients with Parkinson's all the time. He diagnoses it. I want to be completely transparent here. You've never examined President Biden. From my knowledge, you've never even spoken yet to President Biden.
Been in the room.
And we're just going to use what we have so far, which is what we've seen, the president's interviews, and the information coming out of the White House. So my first question to you is, as somebody who's a neurologist, what you've seen from the president over the last 2 years, what you saw at the debate.
Okay, this is not what forget what he's about to say. He's about to tell you that from his point of view, looks like Parkinson's. Not my point. Don't you remember when they did this with Donald Trump? People that never examined him gave you all sorts of, he clearly he has this, and clearly he has that, and clearly he has the other. It's like, well, wait a minute. Did you examine him? No. Did he ask you to examine him? No. Have you even seen his medical records? No. You've already seen this play. It's just that the play you saw was starring Donald Trump. This time, they've exchanged it for Joe Biden. And now the elites are going after Sleepy Joe. That guy has no idea what's now. By the way, he has a bunch of good stuff to say. He really does. It's just that I've gone really, really long on this. He's got a lot of good stuff to say. And it does look like, man, everything that he says mirrors what Joe Biden exhibits. My point is the elites and the rank and file within the Democratic Party are in civil strife. And it won't matter for us, because if Joe stays, we win. If Joe leaves, which I believe he will, because he'll be ousted. They're not going to have him in there. I'm sorry. He's done. But then that leaves us Kamalama, she's dismal, and I don't know how they get rid of her. The only way that they can allow her to be president is if they have a tried blue, white, old Democrat running alongside her. You understand something? Democrats are racist. I mean, legit racist. Like, they are legit racist. So there's no way that they're going to let her pick her running mate. They'll pick the running mate. And trust me, it ain't going to be somebody like Barack Hussein Obama. Look what they did with Obama. They gave him Joe Biden. My point is, this is all good news for us. They are in free fall right now. But don't let that lull you into a false sense of security that we've got it in the bag. We don't. We must move forward as if we are down by 30 points. We have to look at this like because I'm telling you, they are already set to cheat. Look, if you don't believe me, look at my earlier video today. So this is all good news for you. This is all good news. But don't let that lull you into a false sense of security. We don't know what's going to happen. You don't know. And Democrats have a contingency plan. They always do. So be on your P's and Q's here. And they're going to try to elicit something out of you. They want you to go nuts. They want you to get mad. They're going to do something. There has to be an event that they can rally around and blame you and or your preferred candidate. All right, I'm sorry I've gone long on this, but you got to know what's happening here. You are looking at worst a civil war, but at the very minimum, it is civil strife within the Democratic Party. All right, that's it for now. Hey, if you like this video, smash that like button and subscribe. And if you're following me on Rumble, please press that follow button. And until the next time, God bless.